Evelyn mentioned that she had been in the nursing corps in World War II, and I was in the Army Air Corps. There was no Air Force in those days.
Right.
And I, after being inducted and went down to Miami Beach for basic training, they grabbed me out of there and sent me to weather school, which was up in Champaign, Illinois. And in 10 weeks, I did 4 years of college and became a weatherman. After I got my weather school, I went to California. Then I shipped out to overseas to Hawaii. I was on Oahu, and shortly after that, they put me on Kauai. And then I went to into special schools to teach me how to ship loading school. I became a driver of vehicles, and they shipped me out to the invasion of Okinawa. So I invaded Okinawa. I was there on D4, and shortly after that, I volunteered and went out to the little island of Torishima, which was about 50 miles northwest of Okinawa, up closer to Japan, where we were stuck for 3.5 months. A little lava rock, didn't have a blade of grass on it, and we lived on this little rock that you could throw a stone across at high tide. We were there 3.5 months. We had a combat air patrol called the CAP that we controlled. We had 5 Marines, and they took care of the combat air patrol. We had a very rudimentary radar system, and we would spot the Japanese kamikazes coming down to bomb the ships in Okinawa Harbor, and they would go out and try to intercept them. We had 176 kamikazes come down one day.
Wow.
It was fantastic, and these were all young kids that all they knew how to fly a plane and nothing else about it, and how to dive it into a ship.
But I guess it was just a strategic location to be able to identify the kamikazes coming in.
Yes, and I was sending weather back to Okinawa before it came to the island, because the weather came from west to east, and so I had the weather first. I had a partner. He and I did the weather, and we would spot the weather coming in prior to it going to Okinawa.
Yeah.
And one day I had gotten a combat air patrol illegally to drop me 2 wing tanks, and I made a kayak out of it, and I was way out in the ocean trying to collect shells, and my buddy hollered at me, "Hey Dick, come on back here, something's going on," and I went racing back, and he said, "Just look at this anemometer." We had a drum with an aneroid barometer on it, and it recorded the air pressure. And all of a sudden the pen arm was going down, and we both knew immediately that a typhoon was coming. They call them typhoons, we call them hurricanes here.
Yeah.
Anyway, this typhoon was coming, and so we alerted everybody on the island, and we collapsed everything and covered everything up. We had the amazing thing of having the wind come from one direction, and then suddenly it was a beautiful, clear day. We were right in the center of the eye. And everybody said, "Oh boy, it's all over." We said, "No, no, no, don't give up. It's going to come the other way in a few minutes," and it did.
Yep.
And so we had the first typhoon hit Torishima, and that was a big one. But then we had the huge typhoon. Eventually, we got back to the island, to Okinawa, and we had the worst typhoon that has ever hit the Pacific hit Okinawa. Our anemometer blew off at 167 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
And the Navy still had theirs up, and they lost theirs at 192. And we estimate that the wind went to 215 after that. It picked up, it was so strong, it picked up a whole Liberty ship and pulled it 1/4 mile inland on Okinawa. It was up high and dry on land when the hurricane was over.
What year was that?
1945.
Okay. It's right before the end of the war.
Yeah, the war was wheeling down. As a matter of fact, the little radar we had, the Marine captain called us all up to look at it, and the invasion fleet that was going to invade Japan, we could see all these little tiny white blips, and there were just hundreds of them, and all slowly moving north. They were heading for Japan. They were going to invade, but they had dropped the atomic bomb, and the Japs gave up. They surrendered, so the fleet didn't go on up to Japan. I was in downtown Tokyo when they signed the peace treaty out on a battle wagon.
Oh, okay.
I had landed at Tachikawa Airport, and their subways were running, and I took took a subway downtown Tokyo. I was walking down a little narrow street, and I had a .45 pistol on my side, and I think I was leaning at a 45-degree angle. The thing was so heavy. And this great big tall northern Jap gentleman came walking down the street, and I just stepped off the side and let him go by. I could have shot him, of course, but I never would do anything like that. And he just went walking on down, and then I jumped back on the sidewalk and walked on the rest of the way.